What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks, and we back in the building, you feel me? It's True Talks, cause True Talks, all right? Let's get straight right into it, bruh. So you already know that last night, was obviously it was Martin Luther King Day, and on that day, we obviously had a plethora of games, on Monday throughout the whole day. And obviously, the Raptors were facing the Mavericks. Luka Doncic. Porzingis is just his second game back from his injury that he got in the bubble in the playoffs versus the Clippers. You know what I'm saying? He finally had surgery and, he finally came back. And he didn't do too bad in his comeback. But the fact that he's back is obviously great to see. Luka now has to get reacclimated with the fact that, he has Porzingis on the floor, get him some touches, all that type of stuff. Because Luka has basically been running the whole offense, doing what Luka does. And it's Luka or die, basically, right? And then, shares the pie to some people, you get what I'm saying? But, it's definitely a big game for the Raptors in terms of the fact that the Mavericks are no scrubs. The Mavericks are struggling a little bit now. A lot of these teams in the NBA haven't been the healthiest in terms of, the COVID protocols, and they've been having postponed games and missing games, missing players. So these records, a lot of these records right now don't do full justice. Some do, but a lot of them don't. Some, like, you have 1, 2, 3 games that are capped, and there's only been 13, 14, 15 games. So that's going to make the record look drastically different if you have 3 L's due to COVID protocols and, you have more benchmans playing, all that type of stuff. So I don't really put too much stock into a lot of the records in depth, but you know what I'm saying? We can kind of see what is transpiring. But anyways, I digress, and that's my fault. But the Raptors are facing the Mavericks, and basically, it's just obviously great to see the Raptors have won 2 games straight, right? They faced the Hornets on a home-to-home, or both was in not Toronto, but Tampa, right? They faced them back-to-back games. And, the Raptors won both of them. Both was a close, tight game, went down the wire, and was a 3-point win in both of the games. And obviously, right, the Hornets showed their youth, lack of closing ability, not getting up shots, getting bad shots. One, Stanley Cookie basically Devontae and patted him, and then and he kind of slipped and fell. Then another one, Terry Rozier this time tried to get the game tire, and obviously it didn't work out. So, and tried to draw a foul and whatever the case, and all that happened. But basically, we can dive deep into the context, especially between, the Mavericks and just these last 3 games, because the Raptors are on a 3-game winning streak, which is a great sight to see. They're 5-8, I'm pretty sure. And, the fact that they just won 3 straight games, this is something that was often happening in last year, where they would win 3, win 5, win 6, win 7, win 8. I think they even went on 11, whatever they did. And now the Raptors have just been losing. So the fact that they won 3 straight games shouldn't be something that's like, oh, something to celebrate. But it is within the time that the Raptors are in right now and how they started, which was atrocious. This. So, let's go into that context, because I gave it that context. Let's go straight right into it, boy. I capped. The context is gonna, the clips are gonna come, and I'm gonna obviously explain some things, but the context is really a lot of talking, you know what I'm saying? Especially because Pascal has been struggling, right? Pascal's been struggling. I don't want, obviously, y'all to think that I'm just coming to bash him. But again, everything is context, right? So context doesn't just mean show clips, but context means show this, which is IQ. That's what I do. You know this. You know what I'm saying? So let's go right into it. Basically, the Raptors have won 3 straight games, and people are wondering what happened from the beginning to where now they're winning 3 straight games. What is kind of the difference? Main differences are, they always had one big in at all times in terms of Baines, Boucher, and Boucher played some minutes, but he didn't play the bulk of the minutes that he's getting now and wasn't unleashed. You know what I'm saying? Boucher unleashing, he did play good always, right? But Boucher unleashing, getting more minutes and actually trusting him, playing the crucial minutes, playing down the stretch, all that type of stuff. Like, Boucher is actually here. He's here. He's on the scene, and he's looking like a lower tier version of Christian Wood. That's actually what he's looking like. You know what I'm saying? And this is something that I've called from time. I said, elevate Boucher. This is two routes you can go from the offseason. You can either go where you sign two bigs, or you elevate Boucher to play the Ibaka backup role, which means, you know, career year potential, right? Play the backup role, which means if the starter is playing bad, Boucher's there. But regardless, Boucher's in a guaranteed 25 around minutes or so. The Ibaka role from last year, right? And you get a starting center in like Christian Wood, like I said. Imagine Wood and Boucher right now. Like, do you see the production of these guys? Bro, anyways, let me not go into that because you already know. But again, get a big man, a solid big man, and then you have Boucher elevated. Regardless, Boucher's elevation would be determined based on if Ibaka and let's say Harrell or whoever the Raptors were looking at, you know, sign with the Raptors. And I said, even in a good case scenario, you could even sign Ibaka, elevate him to the starter like the Clippers did, and then Boucher will be the backup, right? So if Ibaka's sussing, Boucher, regardless, Boucher elevates to an Ibaka backup type of role, and he would thrive, like I said. And the fact that Boucher is thriving, you know, is something that is appreciated and something that this is what elite looks like. Obviously, the next question is whether he should be starting or not, but this has been working, so I know Nurse is kind of like, you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And what the recipe is you start Aaron Baines or Alex Len, depending on the matchup that they're facing. You start them, and they only play, if you've been taking it in, especially the last 3 games, Baines has only played 8 or 10 minutes. Like, he only plays, like, take it in. The first game that the first game that the Raptors won versus the Hornets, he played 8 minutes. 2 points, 1 rebound. And that's all his stats. 2 fouls. 0 for 1, right? From 3, 1 for 2 from the field. The next game, Baines only played 4 minutes, 0 points, 3 rebounds. You know what I mean? 2 turnovers, 0 for 1 from the field and 0 for 1 from 3. So his one shot was from 3. So if you look, that's kind of been the trajectory. Versus the Dallas Mavericks, he plays 11 minutes, 0 points, 3 fouls, 1 rebound, 0 for 1 again. And that 0 for 1 was from 3. So if you look at the consistency, is you start off Baines probably to start the first, and to start the third, and that's basically it. Sometimes he doesn't even start the third, but for the last 3 games, I'm pretty sure he's been starting the third if I remember. But regardless, he plays pinch minutes. It's like, that's sniffing minutes. That's like, there's guys off the bench playing more minutes than that. That's really, he's just there to just start, like just to have big body on whoever the center is, you know, and then Boucher comes in and then hits the gates running. So when you look at it from that perspective, clearly that has been the blueprint. You play Baines and Len less, and you play the other guys more. And Pascal also gets a lot of minutes at the 5-2. Not a whole grand scheme, but he gets decent amount of minutes at the 5, right? And then Boucher's there, 5 alive. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, it's beautiful at the end of the day. Like, Nurse having IQ and knowing what is working, knowing what to dive into, things that are unconventional, adjusting. He's just adjusting nonstop. He's been thrown a terrible stick to start the season, thrown terrible situation, and yet he's finding a way to just, his brain is just working at all times. Adjust this. Okay, Pascal, you're struggling. Adjust this. And even if we look into it, actually, if you look at their actual play style now of the Raptors, Pascal has been struggling in the last 3 games, but the reason why the Raptors are winning is not because they changed their focal point. Pascal is not a guy, like I said, that you just they were force feeding him. You can't just, even though he's your number 1 option, and it was by situation, it was by force. Obviously with Kawhi leaving and him thriving in this number 2 role when Kawhi was there, right? Which is his max role that his skill set presents, right? But when you look at it now, what was happening was that the Raptors and Nurse actually was forcing Pascal to, get buckets, ISO, put him on the block, put him here, put him in the midi, put him, ISO, face up, do this, do that, and all that type of stuff, and making him like to thrive and, fight through it, even though he's struggling, fight through it. You've seen the end games when they would go to him for game winner. They're just trying to force feed it where that it could build confidence. So if they were to make the playoffs, which is possibility, obviously. I never said they weren't going to. But if they were to make the playoffs and later down when you need him, and he's the number one option regardless, that's what he was last year. So you kind of have to go into you have to dive into the politics and what, is politically correct. Your number one option, the guy who is deemed as a number one option, he has to get touches. He has to be ran through ISO and all that type of stuff. And it's just unconventional that, you go against that. And obviously Nurse didn't. But then he's like, enough is enough. The struggles is too much. So we're going to change it. Pascal won. He's going to get a lot of opportunities at the 5. So him being at the 5, he's going to have the ball like Giannis, where he'll have more spacing. He would be, playing more so. He doesn't have to just stand in the corner and spot up. He actually will ball handle. He'll be the guy setting screens, all that type of stuff. And then when that happened and Pascal was thriving a little bit through that, you could see that Nurse changed the whole offense. Not drastically changed, but what I mean is positionally, he changed certain things. So what I mean by that is you'll see as these clips come, you'll see these buckets that is happening on the screen. You'll see that Pascal, a lot of it isn't like how he was just in the corner or just ISO and I might go psycho. Obviously, he's still going to get his ISO. Obviously, he's still going to get his touches. He's the number one option. That's never going to change. But you're going to see a lot of actions where he's doing handoffs. He's setting screens. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of like the big, doing kind of these off-ball movements, setting screens, kind of like moving like he's Draymond or Giannis at times, right? Where he's like playing more off the ball. He's setting screens. He's doing things of that nature. And it frees up the ball movement. It frees up the guards. It frees up Van Vliet, frees up Lowry. And then he kind of gets it off the roll. He kind of ISOs in those kind of situations. Is what something he wasn't doing last year all the time. Last year, obviously, he had Gasol and Ibaka doing that. And Pascal was actually playing like a wing. Right now, he's not playing like a wing. He's actually playing like a like a center type, or like the old traditional type of power forward screen and stuff. Like the Draymond type, right? Small ball 5 type. Within, even when Boucher's there, Boucher sometimes is spotting up in the corners and playing more off the ball, and Pascal's doing handoff screens and doing all these things that you're seeing. And when they do that, especially in the Mavericks game, right? Because they were tied, it was a back and forth game. And when they were doing that more often in the third and in the fourth, that's when the blowout started to happen. Obviously, when you add that with the defense capabilities too, team-wise, team defense. But those type of plays and those type of actions, that's going to kind of trend towards Pascal not eating and getting 30, not eating and getting high 20s. He still might get his shots up, but he's kind of getting those bunnies, those big man type of plays and situations. And then ISO through that is kind of what the Raptors have kind of changed the offense, and kind of the direction they've been moving has been that way. So when you look at it from that perspective, that actually has been more so the recipe to success for the Raptors in these last 3 wins. Obviously, like I said, we're reducing the bigs minutes and going with a Boucher Pascal tandem to play majority, and they kind of stagger, and always one of those guys are in at all times, and it's kind of they're staggering, and obviously that's kind of what elite looks like in that grand scheme of things. But like I was saying, regardless, they change a lot of the offense, and a lot of it is like, that's why you're seeing Lowry eat, Boucher eat, Powell starting to eat, Van Vliet. Like the guards are obviously getting rewarded through this type of change instead of them playing off ball and watching Pascal go, 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 go. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but a lot of the movement is happening with Pascal, high post, screening, handoff, doing all that type of stuff. So like I said, because even if you don't believe me, if you look at it, Pascal has struggled. But the fact that before Pascal would be struggling, and that would actually dictate whether the Raptors win or lose. Right? Pascal struggles 9 times, 8 times, 7 times out of 10, the Raptors lose the game. But when Pascal goes to work and he's eating and he plays well, 25 plus, shooting pretty efficient, then it leads to, wins for the Raptors. That was the blueprint last year all the time, right? But now when you look at it this year, that hasn't been the case because of this whole lack of bigs. Like I said, like Ibaka and Gasol was so crucial that when you're seeing lack of bigs, it doesn't matter if Pascal goes to work. It doesn't matter if Pascal doesn't go to work. It actually still can result in a loss if you don't replace the big type of production that Ibaka and Gasol was doing. So now when you put Pascal in that big type of production role, which is handoffs, pick and pop, pick and roll, slips, all that type of stuff. He's playing like he's a big. That now will just give more offense and more fluidity to the Raptors movement, which is now it doesn't really matter if Pascal goes to work or not, or struggles or not, because the type of movement that's happening, the type of play style that's happening with the Raptors is now creating easier takes for everybody else. Even if they struggle, it's just more up tempo, it's more fluid, it's less stationary. You know what I'm saying? And now it's kind of manipulating the movement and the schemes and how they just scored in general from last year. Because this year they weren't able to do that with Aaron Baines at the 5, and he was playing bare minutes before, and you can't do that. And then Pascal's just playing the power forward at all times, and then he's kind of like ISOing and doing all that. So that's just what has been changed and what I've been noticing with the Raptors. Obviously, defense, everything, but you could just see that, like, that's been one of the main reasons, and probably the main reason why you're seeing a 3-game win streak. And then not only that, like I said, Nurse is just elite, but not only that, the breakout guy has been Boucher. Boucher has been the best player these last 3 games, even for a little bit more, but he's been the best player. If you look at it, let's go look at the box score, even just for the Raptors. Obviously, the box score doesn't tell you everything, but just kind of just gives you an idea of what's been transpiring. Pascal, first game with the Hornets, 6 for 15, atrocious, 15 points. Like, he hasn't been shooting good. He hasn't been doing that. He still has 4 assists, all that type of stuff. Lowry, obviously, 16 points, 12 assists. He's been playing decent. He's probably been the second best player. But if you look at it, that VanVleet hasn't even played too well, right? Himself as well. But Boucher, my goodness, 8 for 12, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks. You already know, 1 steal, 2 assists, 7 for 8 free throws. Like, he's actually, that free throws right there is telling you he's actually a vocal point in the offense. He's getting it through slips, he's getting it often. He's open. He's kind of moving like he's Christian Wood, looking like the main player of the offense. And even though it's 12 field goals, right, which is still what? That's third highest. So third highest. That's third highest. 4th highest. I'm tripping because Powell's 5 for 13. That's 4th highest in field goals. But at the end of the day, he's active in these sets, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, Pascal's still playing bad. Boucher the best player. We look at the next game again versus the Hornets in game 2 for that game. Pascal playing bad again. 4 for 14, only 9 damn points. You know what I'm saying? 0 for 5 from 3. Like, he's still shooting atrocious, still having his woes. Like I told y'all, just because he had a couple games where he's playing good doesn't mean it's gonna change, and it's not gonna change too much. Like I told y'all, he lacks skill, and he hasn't improved on it. I'm not seeing new takes, new ability. So when that happens, and you're more in your head, like, he's never gonna be a lights out shooter. He's never gonna be that. He's never gonna, you know what I mean? So the fact that you can't rely on multiple bags because you've improved your game, the thing you naturally do is not something that is like hella elite and so much of a consistent go-to. So you're going to have games of inconsistency, stretches of inconsistent misses, or a lot of misses, inconsistent play, right? You're going to have stretches of good play. It's going to be inconsistent because it's not a skilled bag, right? So that's just Pascal, like I said, has to advance that, but he hasn't clearly, right? So when you look at it, struggle again. OG played good, obviously, but if you look even Lowry, VanVleet, Lowry played okay. VanVleet, again, struggling again. Look at Boucher, 5 for 7, 20 points, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks. Again, 10 free throws. He's shooting the most free throws in the game. So that tells you he's literally active. He's literally moving. He's literally part of the offense OD. So when you look at that, like, bruh, that's crazy, right? That's crazy. And then his emergence and his play has obviously helped. And now you look at it with the Mavericks, the last game, just yesterday. Again, his minutes again increasing, everything increasing. 8 for 12. This one, he's only 3 for 3 from the free throw line, but 21 points, 10 rebounds again, 3 blocks, 2 assists, 1 steal. Boucher has been the best player consistently. And that's been something that has obviously elevated the Raptors in general, because he's been getting more minutes and he's been more active and all that type of stuff, and he's actually there. Now, obviously, like I said, the next question is, does he start? I don't think he's going to start for now until Aaron Baines completely susses, but even then, like, it doesn't really matter who starts, to be honest, especially with bigs. It doesn't really fully matter. Obviously, it helps, but it doesn't fully matter. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, that's the main thing to take away from it. Then when you look at it, Pascal, man, Pascal, like I told y'all, like y'all have to look at it from this perspective. This man is somebody who's supposed to be a number one option, right? He's supposed to be someone, or sorry, he is someone who's gotten a reckless contract, right? So he's starting to get paid. His contract kicked in this year, right? And then he's someone who averaged 22 points last year, 22.9. And now you're averaging 23. So you dropped off 4 points off your points per game. You know what I'm saying? He went from 45% from the field to 43. He was shooting worse. It went a little bit up recently, obviously, from those couple games he played well. But 26% from the three. You went from 36 to 26. 10 whole percent. 4 whole points. Like, man, like I try to tell y'all, man, like Pascal has never been a number one option type of guy. He's actually was overboosted even as a number 2 option, but he did play well in that role. But like I said, that's the max he could ever be. Even a number 2 option has to be able to have Arsenal and get a bucket at some point and relieve pressure and relieve the scoring duties off of the number 1 option, right? Pascal was not that. Pascal is literally, he's like, he needs to play within flow. Transition, flow, you know, that's how he needs to play. And through that, he will actually play well. And that's not, I don't really limit that, or I don't really box that or label that as any option. I just label that as a guy who's just going to play. Just play and get out there and play. And just whatever the game dictates, it dictates. Obviously, he does that for everybody. But depending on that flow of that game is how he's going to get it. And I'm not talking about like a KD flow, like, oh, that flow and I can score within the flow. No, I'm talking about he's so limited that he has to have the right flow for him to thrive. Or he has to have just only attack and go to work in situations that present itself and you can thrive, right? And that's something that I don't even know if that's all-star caliber player. I don't even know if that kind of caliber player that actually is. But again, these all-star bursts and everything is manipulated by the conference you're in. And the East is more so weak. So if the Raptors are a top 4 team, you're guaranteed one all-star. It's going to be him. You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff. So I don't really put too much stock into too many all-stars. But at the end of the day, like I said, he's someone who's not a number 1 option caliber player. And he's always been pump faked and boosted by Raptors fans. And even like Nurse going to him and all that type of stuff. And it wasn't his fault at all. He has no faults towards Pascal. It's just unfairly he's been given this. Because his game doesn't warrant, or, you know, it doesn't scream, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. It isn't warranted. His game doesn't warrant it. It's more so limited. And it's not like he's a Giannis where in his limitations, he's dominant at those things. Like in his limitations, he's still limited. He still sometimes makes it. He still sometimes struggles. All that type of stuff. So when you look at it from that perspective, like I told y'all, like Pascal is just like, take in like all the number 1 options, the number 2 options, the number 3 options, those guys, like, look what they're actually doing. And then look at what Pascal's doing. Averaging 18, like, as a number 1 option. And I keep bringing this up because at the end of the day, like, Raptors, Nurse shouldn't have to change so many offenses. Boucher shouldn't have to be relied upon. All of this type of things when you have a number 1 option who's supposed to be relied upon. I'm not supposed to, people hating on Powell and yelling at Powell. I'm not supposed to rely on Powell. I'm not supposed to rely on Van Vliet. I'm not supposed to rely even on Lowry, even though he's an all-star and he's the heart and soul. I'm not supposed to rely on him if you have a true number 1 option. I could be play anus this game. You got it, number 1 option. That's what Kawhi was. So Pascal literally is coming back to earth. Even the last year, him, like it literally looks like everything was so capped that he's coming back to earth. And like, this is who he actually is. And now he's got the money. This is like, it's just crazy. That money is reckless money. He's supposed to be doing way more than what he's doing. And not only that, you're number 1 option. Like, man, it's just crazy, man. It's actually crazy. I do know that at the end of the day, he is trying to get better. He is working hard. But like I said, he's been given something that's cap. He's been given something that's false. He's been given something that he should have never been given. That role should never be for him. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the honest truth. At the end of the day, he's not a number 1 option type of guy. So when you look at it from that perspective, obviously the Raptors on a 3-game winning streak. They're doing really well. You know, at the end of the day, this is what elite looks like. They're 5-8. Can they keep it up? Can they maintain this? Can they do all of that type of stuff? Well, we'll see how that goes. But like Pascal has been struggling and not been playing good. Van Vliet has been struggling and not been playing good. But like I said, it's a 3-game win streak. It's only 3 games. The fact that this is their first 3-game win streak of the season, when that's all they did last year, is actually crazy and it's ironic. But at the end of the day, like I said, you just have to understand that Pascal, you have to take that away from your mind. Pascal, what are you doing today? Are you going to work? You have to just take that out of your mind and just let him play normal. Literally treat him like a role player in the corner and, obviously do his handoffs, do his screens, and do the things that he's doing and play more like Draymond, but at a better tier in terms of offense, right? So you already know, man, at the end of the day, we'll see how they keep going moving forward. We'll see how, let me know in the comments if y'all think Boucher should be started. If not, if you understand why he's not, all that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, Pascal, man, this is not it. This is not it. You have to be able to do something, man. You have to be able to do something. You should not be going shooting this atrocious. You should not it's crazy, man. He should not. He should not. Every other number 1 option, if you go look at the landscape of what's going on, peek. Just pause at the number 1 option for a second and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You feel me? You already know. Anyways, it's True Talks, because True Talks, you already know. We got more context, daily videos or whatever, all that type of stuff coming soon. You already know. Obviously, I apologize for that. Let me know if y'all just want me to talk when it's a blowout and then only do the context when it's close game, and then, we could do it like that. It makes it more easier, you know what I'm saying, and do more daily videos like that, because again, it's harder with all these type of things. It takes 10 to 14 hours to make a video, even to do, the lip reads, all that type of stuff. It's work. It's bare work, you know what I'm saying? Now, I obviously want to incorporate the Nets, you get what I'm saying? Because they're obviously the talk of the town. You still got the Clippers. I know y'all haven't seen a Clippers video in a little bit, you know what I'm saying, in a minute. I will be doing it though. Crazy part is I be editing and having Clippers videos in the archives ready to do, but then something else happens and this and that. And then I'm thinking, y'all obviously care more about the Raps, all that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, if y'all want to talk about the Clippers, Clippers are doing good. They're doing very good. PG's doing very well. You know what I'm saying? The Clippers aren't cap. I told y'all they're looking good. Even Batum's looking clean. You know what I'm saying? You mean? But at the end of the day, you already know this is what Elite looks like. I appreciate y'all. Videos will be coming more consistently in terms of all of that and context and breakdowns. But if there is no breakdown, still click and still stay, tune in, because at the end of the day, IQ, because that's what I do. You feel me? Spread the word. You already know. It's True Talks. Because True Talks, share, like, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. You already know, man. I appreciate y'all. Like I said, just, bruh. We'll see how this goes, man. We'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes, especially with the Nets and all. There's a lot of stuff going on in Bruin. The Lakers just lost to the damn Golden State. That's crazy, obviously. Down 17 and they came back. I was even watching that live. You already know. But I appreciate y'all, man. At the end of the day, just, let me know what y'all want to even see. Let me know the priority for you video-wise, what y'all prefer in the comment section. That way I could actually try and attend to those first before anything else, if push comes to shove. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, you already know, like I said, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all supporting Banks. You feel me? Y'all ain't just fans. Y'all are supporters. Y'all are the IQ ones. Y'all already know. The day ones from day one. You feel me? I appreciate y'all, man. And I'm out, man.